Welcome to our podcast. It is our very first show, and we're pleased that you're sitting here watching and listening. No studio, no mic, just legit me. And here we go. What does a rabbi have to do with distilling? Well, the simple answer is let me give you my little story, or big story, and you'll come flying over with all your questions. I started at the age of 16. There was Brewer's Apprentice in New Jersey. And I started making beer. But why stop at beer? There's corn. There's Curious George in me. You can learn the law. You can make whiskey. So I said, hey, can I get those 60 pounds of corn over there? You want to send them my way? In a beer brewing store. Remember, I couldn't even drive. And the guy's like, why not? Here you go. Here's the sacks. And the second or third time of me asking exactly that question, I couldn't refuse asking and say, hey, you can't figure out what I'm doing with all this corn? I mean, you don't even ask for ID, and I'm in a beer brewing store. And the guy's like, nothing to do with us. You're just selling corn. We're not selling beer. We're not selling booze. Nothing. We don't gotta ask. That was my first eye opening to the most fascinating, mind blowing part of the industry. Which makes sense if you go back in time to, Prohibition, you would buy pallets of grapes, and the grapes had in it, do not combine with 6 ounces of yeast or not. So that was when I'm like, I like this business. Let me get involved. Mom and Dad put the brakes on a little bit. But guess what? It wasn't fully on because there was 120 grams of fermentation in that basement. Ooh, did it smell? It's terrible. It was terrible. I made like a 5-gallon barrel over there, filled up with whiskey, and then we had forced heat. Made everything evaporate. It was just like not the way you want to age your hard work, but that's going sideways. Amazon back then, I like going large and going all in. I ordered a 50-gallon pot, which gave me I was hoping for 12 gallons of hard whiskey. Great for school. Bring it back with me to school, nobody's problem. I got copper at Home Depot or Lowe's. I held it all together with dough, not one of my smartest moments. I couldn't weld. I didn't know how to weld. And then we went to the car mechanic. I hope he didn't use lead, or maybe that will explain something over here to weld it all together. And I used to just sit outside in this most delicious weather, literally spraying it because I couldn't get the worm to stay. I had a metal garbage can. I thought it was cool, but it wasn't. Metal got rusty. Why was I using a metal garbage can to hold the water? I should have had a plastic. But go figure. It was cool. It was more expensive. Probably in Dad's car back then. And I was sitting there with a hose, literally cooling off the copper pipe. With time, got a little more sophisticated. I got my own grind. I ground corn. Used to sit there with my study partner while I was studying. The basement was basically my sphere at that time. I would do whatever, like stocking up barrels. I had 2 or 3 barrels rolling around, big barrels, small barrels. I had that metal dolly to push the barrel on. It had some unique name. Great story. I had hops growing in the backyard for my beer brewing times with a marker on it. And then we had a nice fellow that used to do the landscaping. Apparently came at night and he thought he saw crosses. He's like, I'm running. What's that graveyard in your backyard? Took me a little bit of time to figure all of that out, what he wanted. So with time I got married, it was time to get a distillery. My dad calls me up. Says, I call my dad and say, I want to start working, I want to start a business. I'm like, are you looking at distilling? I said, yeah. So a bit of negotiations. He says, I got a building in South Jersey, in Millville. Why don't you go check it out? Okay, building, no rent. That's a cheap way to start. And remember, guys, in life, cheap way sometimes the really hard way. So I lived in Brooklyn. Dad lived in Lakewood, New Jersey. I said, okay, let's go. I'll come Now, Dad loved driving down the side road, so what could be an hour trip could be 3 hours. We drive down to Millville. He got this nice building, looks beautiful, old grocery store. Nothing in the area. I should have figured that out by then. Just all dead. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's go visit Trainwreck Distillery. They said they have whiskey still. We head over to Trainwreck, $6,000 for the whiskey still. This is before, it was always available. Today, you get a whiskey still online, $50, $100, whatever. It's cheap, it's available. This was before those easy days. Guys, let me tell you, whiskey stills were still treated as an illegal device. You need to buy it from them. I didn't really know much what I was doing. I went home, I went to Amazon, I bought one book. I barely knew how Amazon worked, so I got 3 of the same book. Probably still have all 3 somewhere in Mom's house. I told Mom that they made a mistake. They sent me 3. And I told her that I probably drank either before I ordered it or I ordered 3 because I didn't know what I was doing, because I didn't want to have to pay for 3. Whatever. I reached out to Millville. I built myself a website, WordPress website. Of course, we're trying a small budget. I learned WordPress. I created a WordPress website. I reached out to Millville Township. Now, I was still scared to make a phone call, scared of the phone. So I will pause when I make the phone call, because this is just the regular hesitations of starting a business. It's new, it's foreign. Get through the town of Millville, they start telling me, well, you need a lawyer, it's a business. I don't know from lawyers, I got money for lawyers or representatives. After going from one to the next in the offices, I finally get someone that knows what I'm talking about. So I got the docs that you need to file for a distillery. Wonderful. Let's make this happen. I get emailed documentation that was probably from another township that was scanned in sideways sloppy to a portal. This was not going to work. Okay, guys? And they were asking a whole bunch of things that could have been obvious for an ordinary businessman, but the guy on the other side of the phone was in his 80s, or seemed like it. I was like, I need guidance. I gotta get distillery guidance. And that was not one of my best moments, seeing that you're literally telling everyone opening up a distillery, it's gonna open tomorrow, right? You know nothing of what you're doing. You just love taking corn and mashing and brewing and distilling and passing it on. And this was not turning out as simple as it could be. But look, I can learn the law. I'm a rabbi. I know the laws. I learned study textbooks. It's not. So what? Some more documentations. You got to start filing for an LLC. An LLC. It's time to first figure out if there's going to be use for the LLC. Guy's a little tip off his, hey, if you're going down there, find a lawyer in the area, because the lawyer that's in the town over is the judge in that town, and he's the judge in that town, and they know each other, so they're going to put you through, so find a lawyer. Never spoke to a lawyer for my life. This was just not, this was new to me, lawyers. They're the fancy guys that go to college, go to university. This is not $300 an hour. That's what I make a year. $300 an hour. Consultancy, just to pick up the phone, you want money. I want distillery. They don't know distilling law. They know distilling law. They know the town. I call 8 of them, 9 of them. Listen, guys, I finally found a lawyer. Or did I? I'm not incorporated. I found a lawyer. This is already only $2,000 before I blink. It's more than all my savings at this point. Then $6,000 for the whiskey still. Dad has a bunch of questions. Do I really want to continue down this route? Well, stay tuned for part 2 of this podcast.